Hi there. Welcome to Apple World. Well, that line has sort of matured like milk since that Jaden and Will sort of affection is the very sort of adoration that no one needs to deferentially keep that sort of affection far away from me, since I'm not guaranteeing that energy. No, welcome back, Maddie. So Will and Jada have been in the public eye lately as a result of the entire wreck that occurred at the Oscars, as well as the spilled letter that Willow Smith wrote to Tupac. And I know that you all have considered the sort of guardians Will and Jada have been to their children, Willow and Jaden. Well, today I will spill all the tea about Willow and Jaden's childhood, and only a tad piece of heads up. This is somewhat upsetting, and things will get muddled. So prepare your teacups on the grounds that you all realize that no one spells the tea like me. So where do I start? Well, what about the time that Jaden requested to be liberated at 15? Currently, for those of you who don't realize that liberation fundamentally implies that he needed to be proclaimed a grown-up, you realize that, similar to separating from his folks, the insane thing is that he needed to be a grown-up at age 15. I have close to zero familiarity with you all, yet most grown-ups I know are battling to return to being kids. I mean, adulting can be pretty ghetto, however, assuming you believe that that is insane. Well, greeting to the existence of the Smiths, since it gets considerably more insane his folks were not. Precisely against the liberation, despite the fact that Jada communicated some worry. As of now, Jaden's craving for opportunity caused hypothesis from among fans, and he was feeling gagged by his folks and that he needed to carry on with his life in his own specific manner. This hypothesis was likewise powered by old reports about Will and Jada driving their youngsters into vocations that they needed no part in except for we'll get into this in a bit for the present. We should zero in on Jaden's longing for liberation. Well, he didn't go through with it, and he kept on living as a minor, yet this made fans can't help thinking about the thing precisely Jaden was proceeding with his folks that caused him to conclude that he would have rather not been under them any longer. I mean, it's few out of every odd day that a 15-year-old awakens and requests his opportunity. Fans guessed that Will and Jada were not the very best of guardians, and a fan said that after the previous year, I completely comprehended the reason why Jaden Smith requested to be liberated at 15. Also, another person tweeted, I believe that is what they get for hauling every one of their children into the showbiz. It truly ends up great. Definitely, that is somewhat screwed up. However, do you folks need to know what else is wrecked by the way that Will and Jada treated Willow uniquely in contrast to Jaden on the grounds that she was a young lady? And no, this isn't simply some arbitrary hypothesis by fans, since Willow herself brought this up on an episode of Red Casual Conversation. I likewise need to raise, there is a distinction between how dark mothers will treat their girls and their children. You all the family stays uncovering their grimy mysteries on that show. I likewise find it sort of unexpected how Jada likes to introduce herself as a women's activist symbol, yet she was raising Willow contrastingly on the grounds that she's a young lady, and the way that she didn't deny the charge simply talks volumes. However, like each parent realizes that you must be as fair as possible with your children as a result of bias prompts an unfortunate contention between the children. Yet it looks like Jada missed that reminder in the event that you imagine that things could never deteriorate. Well, I'm sorry to burst your air pocket since it some way or another gets more regrettable. You see, on an episode of the Red Casual Conversation, Willow focused on how Might and Jada drove her into business too soon. We as a whole know that Willow and Jaden never truly battled to be at the center of attention since they were naturally introduced to it, yet as indicated by Willow, she wanted that her folks never constrained her to go into music so early. I certainly needed to excuse you and Daddy, for that entire thing. It was generally Daddy since he was so similar to unforgiving. Right at specific times attempting to recapture trust for not feeling like I wasn't paid attention to, or nobody tended to think about what I felt definitely during that time yet. Insanely, Willow was just 9 years of age when she sang Whip My Hair to and fro, so she had a ton of time to turn into the genius that Will and Jada believed that her should be. Yet, could you at any point envision that it is so crazy to drive a 9-year-old kid to begin a profession? I would not joke about this. Dislike their family was poor or anything. Willow additionally focused on how she had something of a personality emergency after the outcome of With My Hair to and fro, similar to simply in this ill-defined situation of like, who am I like? Is there like, do I have a reason? Like, is there any such thing I can do other than this? Yet insanely, Jaden felt the same too after the arrival of the Karate Kid, which he began when he was just 11 years of age, so Willow wasn't the one in particular who felt compelled by Will and Jada to make a big deal about himself very early on by constraining their children into professions that they didn't need. Will and Jada essentially took their lives as youngsters, and that only all shades of wrong, since no one has the right to grow up without having a youth. Now, after Willow discharged with my hair to and fro, she marked an arrangement to go on visit with Justin Bieber for a month, despite the fact that she didn't need to. Will constrained her, and in fight she shaved her head. Might you at any point envision a degree of dissatisfaction that a young lady would need to look before she chooses to shave off her head? Willow likewise uncovered in a few meetings that she was unable to deal with the popularity that came after she began making music. This prompted additional tension from her guardians, and in the long run, she began participating in self-hurting ways of behaving to help her adapt, and I won't discuss what she was doing. It's on the web, so you can find it on the off chance that you need to. I simply track down it. Crazy that Will and Jada have consistently made a demonstration of being the best guardians ever. I mean, they're about how their principal center is nurturing their children, and how they stand by listening to their children, and how they permit their children to be with whoever and anything they desire to be, with practically no strain from them, except for this is all ending up being completely false in light of the fact that in the background, they were putting crazy measures of tensions on their children to begin raking in boatloads of cash before they even became youngsters, and this is simply off base on a lot of levels. Will and Jada have conceded on numerous events that they don't trust in discipline, and they don't teach their children. In a 2013 meeting, Will said, "We don't do discipline the way that we manage our kids is. They are answerable for their lives. Our idea is just about as youthful as conceivable. Give them however much command over their lives as could reasonably be expected. So when they do things, you can do anything you need, as long as you can clarify for me that that was the proper thing to accomplish for your life." This would have appeared as a brilliant nurturing hack. Yet the thing is, Willow was only 13 and Jaden was 15 at that point, and as per Will, this is the way they were raised. This nurturing hack is simply insane in light of the fact that it expects that children are savvy to the point of being in charge of their lives. I mean, children will continuously be children, and they will do imbecilic things to settle on moronic choices. That is the reason parent must guide them and assist them with pursuing the best choices. Additionally, might we at any point discuss the way that he said he gives his children command over their lives, where he basically constricts them into professions that they don't need? Sincerely, with guardians? As it's a wonder that Willow and Jaden ended up being fair people, we think we should currently discuss the way that Jada had an unsanctioned romance with Jaden's companion, August Alsina. Well, not an undertaking, essentially on the grounds that she and Will had an open marriage, so dislike undermined Will. However, the thing is, August is or was Jaden's companion, and that is all shades of screwed up. Genuinely certain individuals ought to simply be too far out, and your child's companions ought to be one of them. Did she even ponder how Jaden would feel before she began doing the frightful with his companion? I'm not saying that Jada is a terrible mother or any such thing, yet truly, of the multitude of men in Hollywood, it must be her child's companion. I mean, I realize that the family is peculiar, yet this equitable took things to something entirely gracious. And don't even get me going on the letter that Willow attempted to send to Tupac when she was only 11 years old. Fans have been hauling Gina after Willow's letter to the Tupac Association. Like I said, Willow purportedly composed the letter to Tupac when she was only 11 years old, and she was asking Pot to come and get her mother. She composed, "Dear Tupac, I know you're alive somewhere, and I think my mama truly misses you. Could you, at any point, kindly return?" Subscribe Apple World for more videos.